Somewhere right now, there's a person who read a survival tip on the internet, maybe from a guy who looked very confident, had good lighting, and a lot of followers. And they stored that tip in the back of their brain like a loaded weapon. They are absolutely convinced they know what to do when things go wrong. They have a plan, they feel prepared. And that confidence is going to kill them. Not because they panicked, not because they were careless, but because the thing they were taught is medically, physically, biologically wrong. And the moment they act on it under real stress, their body pays the price before their brain even registers the mistake. This video is not about obscure edge cases. Every single myth you are about to hear has been repeated so many times by so many sources: teachers, parents, television shows, military handbooks from decades ago, that most people consider them common knowledge. Scientists, emergency physicians, and field survival instructors have spent years trying to reverse the damage. So today, we do it properly. Before we go through them, here is the framework that makes everything else make sense. There's a survival rule called the rule of threes. In a true emergency, your body can survive roughly 3 hours in harsh environmental conditions before you die from exposure. 3 days without water before organ failure becomes irreversible. 3 weeks without food. That sequence is not a suggestion. It is a biological priority ladder. Every myth in this video is dangerous precisely because it inverts that ladder in some way. Keep the sequence in your head: temperature, water, injury, then everything else. The myths follow that same order because that is the order in which they will kill you. Let's start at the top. You're lost, it is cold, you've been walking for hours, your mouth is dry, your throat feels like cracked concrete, and there's snow everywhere you look. It seems almost stupid not to eat it. It is literally frozen water. It's everywhere. You grab a handful and shove it in your mouth and feel briefly satisfied that at least you solved one problem. You didn't solve a problem, you created one. When you eat snow, your body has to spend its own thermal energy to melt it and bring it to core temperature. That energy comes from you. In a cold weather survival scenario, your body is already fighting to maintain 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit against an environment that is actively trying to take that heat away. Every handful of snow you eat is a withdrawal from a thermal account that is already dangerously close to zero. The process accelerates the exact condition you are trying to survive: hypothermia. Your core temperature drops not because of the air around you, but because of the cold you are actively introducing inside. Studies on cold weather casualties consistently show that eating snow as a hydration strategy is a contributing factor in hypothermia deaths, particularly in the first hours of exposure when the body is still burning energy aggressively and has not yet entered conservation mode. Melt it first. Use body heat, a container, fire, anything that converts snow to liquid without using your own core temperature as the heat source. Even packing snow into a bottle and holding it against your torso while you move accomplishes this. The water you drink must already be liquid. This is thermal biology, not preference. And now that you know what snow does to your internal temperature, here's the question that follows immediately. What if there is no snow and you are desperately thirsty, but your only available liquid is what your body already made? The myth is simple. If you have no water, drink your urine. You've seen it on television. A survival expert does it on camera, looks unfazed, and the message is clear. Resourceful people use everything available. What they did not explain is what urine actually is. Your kidneys produce urine specifically to expel what your body cannot use: urea, creatinine, dissolved salts, and compounds that are toxic at concentration. Urine is not diluted water. It is a concentrated waste product, and its solute load is almost always higher than the threshold your kidneys can handle in reprocessing. When you drink it, your kidneys have to use more water than you consumed just to dilute and expel the waste you reintroduced. The net hydration effect is negative. You are dehydrating yourself faster than if you had drunk nothing at all. This is documented in survival medicine literature. Emergency physicians treating dehydration cases report that patients who consumed urine in the field consistently arrive in measurably worse condition than those who simply conserved and waited. Drinking urine is only viable in highly specific contexts involving distillation equipment that removes the solutes before consumption. Without that, it is not a hydration strategy. It is a way to feel productive while the real problem accelerates in the background. But here's something that surprises most people when they first hear it. Even if you solve the water problem completely, the next thing most survivors reach for is the wrong resource entirely. You are stable, hydrated, and your first instinct is food. What can I eat? What is safe out here? You start scanning for berries, grubs, anything. It feels logical. Calories equal energy. Energy equals survival. Except you just handed your first hour of survival to your lowest priority need. Remember the rule of threes. 3 weeks without food. Your body in moderate conditions can run on glycogen and fat reserves for days before it begins breaking down muscle tissue in meaningful amounts. What it cannot tolerate nearly as long is cognitive impairment from dehydration, and a healthy adult loses measurable mental performance after losing just 2% of water body. That impairment is what causes the second, third, and fourth bad decisions in a survival chain. It's what makes a manageable situation catastrophic. Spending the first 2 hours searching for something edible while your core temperature swings, your shelter situation remains unsolved, or your water supply is uncertain is a trade of your highest priority resources for your lowest priority one. Calories matter enormously over a multi-day scenario. In the first 24 hours, food acquisition is almost always a net waste of time and energy. Shelter and water first. Food is a day 3 problem, and most people never need to get there. Now, stay in the cold for a moment, because the environment that threatens your temperature also threatens your extremities, and the myth that comes with that threat is one that causes permanent damage every single winter. You see it on someone's hands, white, waxy, cold skin on the fingers, maybe your own toes. Your instinct is immediate and human. Rub warmth back into it, generate friction, get the blood moving. It's the same instinct that makes you rub your palms together on a cold morning, and it feels like it should work. At the cellular level, it does the opposite of work. In frostbitten tissue, the water inside and between cells has partially crystallized. Those ice crystals have sharp edges at a microscopic scale. When you rub frostbitten skin, you are dragging those crystals mechanically through cell walls, rupturing the living tissue they're embedded in. The damage from rubbing is frequently worse than the damage from the cold itself. Surgeons treating frostbite injuries can often identify patients whose tissue damage pattern is consistent with mechanical rubbing rather than cold exposure alone. The rupture patterns are distinct. The correct protocol is to rewarm the tissue only if refreezing is not a risk, because a freeze-thaw-refreeze cycle causes catastrophically more damage than staying frozen does. If you're still in the field, keep the tissue frozen and functional until you reach a stable environment. Rewarm using warm water between 99 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Not hot water, not direct flame, not friction. This protocol is in every current wilderness first responder certification for a reason. The rubbing instinct costs people fingers. Now, leave the cold entirely, because the next myth lives in warm terrain, moves fast, and killed people who felt certain they knew exactly what to do. You are hiking, somewhere warm. You step wrong, something bites your ankle, and you look down. The thought arrives before you can stop it, the one stored since childhood. Suck it out. You have seen it done. Someone always does it. The person doing it looks competent and heroic. They save the day. The actual science on this is brutal. Venom moves into lymphatic and tissue systems within seconds of injection, faster than any human can react, locate the wound, and apply suction. By the time you're performing the action, the venom is already in tissue you cannot reach. Second, if the person doing the sucking has any oral cuts, ulcers, or even minor dental issues, the venom now has a secondary entry point directly into their bloodstream. Third, and this is where people make it actively worse, cutting the wound open to improve suction, which people also do, introduces direct tissue damage and infection into an already compromised site. The American Red Cross removed suction from its first aid guidance years ago. The FDA evaluated suction devices marketed specifically for snakebite and found them clinically ineffective. Emergency physicians report that patients who perform this intervention arrive at hospitals with additional complications from the response, not just the bite. What works? Keep the victim calm, keep the bitten limb at or below heart level to slow systemic circulation, remove constricting items because swelling will come fast, and get to antivenom as quickly as physically possible. That is the entire evidence-based protocol. Calm, low, move. Now imagine the bite got bad. Bleeding is involved, serious bleeding. And here is where a myth that sounds like caution has quietly cost people their lives and their limbs. For decades, tourniquets were treated as a measure of last resort, a desperate final option that you reached for only when everything else had failed, because the prevailing wisdom said cutting off circulation would kill the limb and guarantee amputation. People bled out from limb wounds in the field waiting for permission to use a tool that could have saved them 3 minutes earlier. That hesitation was the myth, and it killed people. The military data that came back from 2 decades of combat operations reversed this guidance completely. The Committee on Tactical Combat Casualty Care analyzed thousands of casualties and found something that contradicted everything civilian first aid had taught. People bled out from leg wounds that a tourniquet, applied in the first 2 to 3 minutes, could have controlled with almost zero limb loss when applied correctly. The hesitation was not caution, it was a death sentence with a medical-sounding justification. The key word is correctly. A tourniquet applied loosely, too close to the wound, or left on beyond the 2-hour clinical threshold does cause additional damage. But a properly applied tourniquet on a limb with arterial bleeding is now classified as an early, active, primary response, not a last resort. If you take one practical skill from this entire video, let it be this: learn to apply a tourniquet before you need to. The window where it saves a life is measured in minutes, and that window does not wait for certainty. The next myth does not bleed. It strikes from above, instantly without warning, and the place you run to for cover is one of the most dangerous places you can be. The sky darkens faster than it should. The air pressure drops. The hair on your arms rises. Lightning. And the nearest thing that looks like shelter is a stand of trees at the edge of the field. You run toward them. Trees are among the most dangerous places to be during a lightning storm, and the physics are immediate. Lightning seeks the path of least resistance to ground. Tall objects provide that path. A tree struck by lightning discharges massive electrical energy into its root system and the surrounding ground, a phenomenon called ground current, which travels outward from the base of the tree for dozens of feet in every direction. People who survive near misses describe current entering through their feet from the soil, not from the sky above. The tree is not shelter, it is the target, and you are standing next to it. The correct response is to move to low ground, away from isolated tall objects. If you're in an open field with no structural shelter available, the lightning crouch. Feet together, crouching low, heels touching, hands over ears. You're minimizing your height and your ground contact footprint simultaneously. It is not comfortable. It is the position with the best documented odds. That covers the sky. Now the ground itself becomes the threat. The floor moves. The building shakes. Every instinct fires at once, and almost everyone does the same thing. They move toward the door frame. Stand in the doorway. It's been told so many times by so many people that it feels like physics. The arch holds. The opening survives. You'll be protected. This guidance is based on observations of adobe structures in earthquake zones from decades ago. Modern wood frame and steel construction does not fail the same way. In contemporary building collapses, door frames offer no statistically meaningful protection over any other structural element in the room. The thing that actually kills people during earthquakes is not the structural collapse, it is the contents of the room becoming projectiles. Falling shelving, shattering glass, dropped light fixtures, flying furniture. The threat is horizontal chaos, not vertical collapse, and a door frame does nothing to protect you from any of it. The protocol that replaced this myth is drop, cover, and hold on. Get under a sturdy table or desk, protect your head and neck, grip the furniture, and move with it if it moves. If no furniture is available, get against an interior wall, face down, hands protecting the back of your head and neck. This is the guidance from FEMA, the American Red Cross, and seismologists who have studied casualty patterns in modern earthquakes. The door frame is a relic from a different era of construction. Let it stay there. Now you are out of the building. The structure is unstable behind you. You need to move, and you need to figure out which direction you're going. And here is where the final myth turns a manageable situation into a compounding disaster. You look for moss. You have heard it your entire life. Moss grows on the north side of trees. It's nature's compass. If you find it, you know which way to walk.
Moss grows where moisture accumulates, and moisture patterns are driven by local topography, prevailing wind direction, canopy gaps, proximity to water sources, slope orientation, and dozens of micro-environmental variables that have nothing to do with cardinal north. In heavily forested areas with dense canopy, moss grows uniformly on all sides of trees because moisture is uniform. In dry climates, it may track the east side of rocks because of morning dew patterns. In regions with specific prevailing weather, it follows that weather, not the sun's arc. Field survival instructors who have tested this in real terrain find it unreliable as a navigational tool across nearly every environment type they've documented. And here is the compounding danger. You are not making one directional decision using moss. You're making dozens of them over hours of walking. Each small error compounds the previous one. By the time you realize you've been moving in a wide arc rather than a straight line, you may have exhausted resources you needed for a completely different direction. The navigational error at this stage does not just cost you position, it costs you everything you have spent the previous hours fighting to preserve. If you have a phone with any battery remaining, the compass application does not require a signal. It works off magnetometer hardware in the device. A mechanical compass works for decades. Even tracking sun position and shadow movement, as imprecise as that is, give you more reliable directional data than bark patterns in variable terrain. Know this before you start walking. Here is the full list, one final time in the order that actually matters. Eating snow steals thermal energy your body cannot spare. Drinking urine accelerates the dehydration it claims to solve. Chasing food in the first 24 hours wastes your most critical hours on your lowest priority need.
Rubbing frostbitten tissue destroys cells that staying frozen would have left intact. Sucking snake venom introduces the poison to new entry points and delays the only treatment that works. Waiting to use a tourniquet is not caution. It is a decision to let someone bleed. Running to trees in a lightning storm puts you next to the target. Playing dead only applies to grizzly bears in defensive encounters. Standing in a doorframe during an earthquake protects you from nothing that actually kills people in modern buildings. And moss on trees is not navigation data in any environment where local conditions vary. You now know more actionable survival science than most people who consider themselves genuinely prepared.